Delight Show with your girl Turkish Delight Seth. Hope you guys are doing well. Topic. Actually, before I go on to the topic, have you liked, subscribed, and commented? That's what I need to know. But now let's go back to the topic. So we're going to be discussing polygamy, alright? But also polygamy and spirituality. Again, because as much as me and Charlotte, you know Charlotte now, guys, but as much as me and Charlotte have been discussing quite a few topics around spirituality and we spoke about fidelity, but I think even polygamy and on a spiritual level is also just as well as important. So Charlotte feels that majority of human beings are like lions, and they're not actually really made to be just with one person.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Do you feel that's true? Yeah.
Definitely. I think the concept of like.
My statement, by the way, I was just saying, is my statement true? Not like that, but
Yeah.
my statement that I've said about you. Yeah.
Definitely. I feel, it's for you to expect someone to have one partner. This is a man and a woman, because men are held to a different regard to women, but both of them, they're supposed to also have one partner right throughout their life. I just don't feel like this is a realistic conclusion. When we look at society, even when we look at the whole concept of cheating, we touched on it before, but when we think about cheating, if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're unhappy, and you've got 3 children, you've been married for 25 years, so you're committed, you're very well committed, but you're unhappy. You might want sexual gratification somewhere else, because like we've already said, that it's not about the other person, it's about how you are feeling
inside. Yeah.
Isn't it? So it's not about fulfilling somebody else. You've fulfilled your commitment.
Yeah.
You've done everything you're supposed to do. So then it comes into it, if you're going to live for yourself or others, isn't it? So if we think to ourselves, like we said with the animals, some animals are monogamous and they have one partner, but it's very few. It's like a few birds. Some birds are very faithful and wolves, but most of the other animals are not like that. And human beings are at the top of that chain, isn't it? We're at the top of that chain. So the more we understand the animals, the more we understand ourselves.
That's interesting. So could you give like a bit more information to the viewers about how you view lions, wolves and birds?
They're together. So like wolves, they're together right from the beginning. They have their children, they stay in a cub, they look after each other, they move from side to side, they have a territory. That's wolves. Birds, same thing, have one partner. They look after their children, they rear them. Normally when one of them dies, the other one dies really soon.
That's very interesting, because that happens with humans sometimes.
That's right,
as well.
when they're connected, because you've got a bond.
Yeah.
Then you look at all of the big cats. All the big cats, they're together for a certain amount of time, which is to have the children, bring them up from cubs, and once the children go, they move on.
Oh, okay, interesting.
But they're always together for that amount of time.
Okay.
You have seahorses. The men bring up the children of seahorses.
Oh, okay, interesting.
You have penguins as well. The men bring up the children in penguins. So you've got a few. They're the ones that sit on their eggs. I'm really into documentaries.
I love it. We're having a mini documentary here,
so,
guys.
Yeah, when you think about it, and then you have some. That's what they say. Normally, human beings are built to have the child. I think it's 7 years. That connection where they have a bond, and they normally separate. But if you've got a good foundation with your partner, you should be able to be able to parent together, but you go your separate ways. A lot of children normally find divorce is one of the things that traumatizes children a lot. Divorce, you know, people say in different ways you might be a single parent, but if you've always been a single parent, the child has grown up in that way. If you've been married and you've got this together lifestyle and then you get divorced, children normally find that very traumatic. It's like a traumatic event because your parents have been together, they've known, you've established, you've got a foundation. Children in single parent households as well, they suffer from different ailments, poverty, lack of funds, guidance, so many other things that you'd suffer from if you've got a one parent family. So in general, the concept is you'd still have both of your parents there to help bring up your children, and you'd separate, so I'm like 50-50 because I think first of all you have to have a good relationship with yourself.
Amen.
We've touched on it. Then you can start to have a good relationship with somebody else, or somebody who's like-minded. So now you hear about all these different things now. People have open relationships. People have sister wives, 2 or 3 people in one relationship, because now having a lot more dialogue about different types of relationships people can have. People quite open with side chicks, side chicks have helped a lot of relationships, by the way.
I've heard that. You know what? It's so crazy that you've said that.
That's a fact.
Because the interesting,
That's a fact.
the interesting thing. Somebody made that comment to me one time and said to me, they said, "Listen, sometimes those moments or whatever, those side chick moments or whatever you want to call it, they actually help a relationship."
Yeah.
And I can't believe, and it's like deja vu for me, because when she said it, one of my friends said this to me, and I'm the kind of person where I'll take something, I'll listen, I'll think about, and I'll reflect on it, and I thought, that's interesting, because nobody's ever said that to me before.
It's 100%. It's the oldest story in the book.
Oh, really?
Many working men, they would have a mistress. They'd call it, whatever you might want to call it, okay? Your sister wife, your side chick, your mistress, whatever, your best friend. Do you understand?
Oh, your best friend, That's true.
Friend. So whatever you want to call it, right? Not that it spices up, but women as well, we're quite complicated beings. So we normally like to have our own space and our own time and stuff like this, and believe it or not, there's a saying, man that tell the most lie has the most gal. Remember that, man that tell the most lie has the most gal. That's because women get tired of hearing you want some spice. You want the man to start telling you something, unfortunately, okay? We want someone to tell you something. But when especially if a man is actually committed, if he's actually been committed to one woman for years and years, that gives him a breath of fresh air.
What,
it
the side chick?
revitalizes him. Yeah, it does. And obviously also, if a woman, it's going to sound very unpopular, but when a woman has a child, this is a very stressful time for a family, because she's concentrating on other things and he's concentrating on, he's still got his libido, because once, men are driven in this way, they're more physical as well as visual. So we have to deal with that. We can pretend it doesn't exist, but it does. So it's like, let's say, how are we going to go around that issue, right? So we can either say, I don't want to talk about it, it's not happening, there's no such thing as a side chick. But we know that's not true. Do you know what I'm saying? We can say that we all know that's not true. So if we're like authentic, because really this is, when you think about certain religions like Islam, for instance, that says the man can only have 4 wives. He's put a limit at 4. So that lets you know that man used to have a lot. Because now they put a limit.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying, so usually, and in African culture, how that would normally go, he would have to say to his first wife, I've met somebody, I want to bring them in the home, and you'd have a choice of yes or no, because it's known that the man will have that inkling. As a woman gets older as well, her sexual libido changes, so she might not be invested in that like she was before. You know, she's not interested, but she's still committed to him.
It's interesting about, so just sorry to cut you, but it's very interesting because I've kind of picked up on something, that there's a massive difference between being committed in a relationship,
yes,
and the other part. Do you know what I
yes.
mean? It's, I'm starting to get that
That's
now, where
it's
people can actually be, you're right, people can actually be in a committed relationship, but then there's actually the other side of things.
Because I've always said that I've never been in a relationship, for instance, where a female has rang my phone and said to me, oh, your man this or your man that, right? Because I've always made it very clear that that's a massive disrespect. If anybody ever rings my phone, that means that you're disrespecting me, you're disrespecting our household, you're moving a certain way where you're not being clear about your priorities. Do you understand? So you need to be clear about your priorities, what's important, and where your value is at, where your thinking is at. So I think that's not the same thing as me saying I've never had a man cheat on me. Let's be clear. Okay, that's not the same thing. I'm saying there's never been a female that's ever come in front of me that said to me this, anything. But that doesn't mean he's never cheated. That's another subject. But I said I've never had that disrespect, touch wood, that I won't get that. But I'm saying to you, we have to be clear about what our standards are, who you are in a relationship, what your expectations are. You understand? So even if a man is going outside, he's behaving a certain way. Like he understands his
respect.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I said I will always choose respect over love. All the time. Do you understand? I will
100%.
always choose respect over love. So if we think to ourselves, what is it that we want? First of all, in a relationship, you know, what are your goals? You know, and even when you were saying before, you wanted to touch on like busyness of a man. Sometimes there's no such thing, in my opinion, as a busy man. Not when he's too busy. Because even if a man's working 17 hours in the day, his lunchtime he will come to see you.
I agree with what you're saying.
He will make time.
He will still make time.
He will make time. He will. It might not be every single day, but he will make sure he makes time. You will see in the little things that he does. He replies your messages. He will send you something. He will always show you, you know, because there's a massive difference between out of sight and out of mind. You know, so if a man's preoccupied, just because you're out of sight doesn't mean you're out of mind. So if he's moving in a way that's appropriate, where you feel like he's still considering you, you know, it's the same thing when you're in a relationship and he's still doing all of those things, regardless of what other things he might be doing. But as for him, you know, when we say to ourselves, can a man, when I say faithful, I don't mean 6 weeks, 2 months. I'm talking about real commitment, like commitment what our grandparents had. You know, because a lot of your viewers as well, they'll hear those things, oh, granddad had a woman at a road, blah blah, but that's how those things was, you know. Be like, I'm not gonna be like grandma, but are you any better? Are you any better? You know, because sometimes we frown on the older generation because we might have seen them having to do things a certain way. But now we're here now, this is our generation, and we think about what are we going to do with our men, our women, because everybody wants to be happy. We're lucky now, we live in a generation, women, we're free now. We can have our sexuality, you can have your partner, a lot of women have side man, which was frowned upon before. So a lot of women have side man now. You know, so, and even that would help, because maybe you feel like your main man's not doing...
You make me laugh, even that would help. Well, what were we saying before? The first episode I ever done was side chicks versus main chicks. What are we saying now? Now 5 years later, we're saying Thank you, side chicks. Thank you, side chicks. Thank you for spicing up the relationships.
Yes.
And keeping it
And
going.
thank you. And when I see his dry face, you took him in. Thank you. When I chucked him out of the house, you took him in. Thank you.
So, yeah, I love that. But yeah, so to conclude, really,
I don't know in this one. Even, like I'm saying, it's just a theory for me.
yeah, I guess it's really, even though I'm saying to conclude, really, there's no set conclusion, because I think at the end of the day, everybody is different. There's something, and as I said, like myself, I've never cheated. Yeah, and that has been looked upon like, what? What do you mean? Not even once? Like, and I'm like, nah, not even, not once. They're like, I can't understand. People can't even understand that. Do you get it? So the point really is that we're all different. We're all different, and even people who have cheated, who haven't cheated, whatever. No one's any better than any others.
Yeah.
Like, we all just do things differently. We are all our own individuals. And I guess just what works for you. But you're right. I think as well, it's just about you knowing what you want. What you will tolerate. And I'm not gonna lie as well. I agree with you on the respect thing. Respect is very big. I'm very big on respect too as well.
Yeah.
I'm the same. Ain't no woman calling up. I'm too much of a big woman for that. And from the moment a woman is calling my phone, everything lock off. Everything. Do you get it? So I agree with what you're saying. Like, it's not to say that humans can be humans. Mistakes can happen. Some mistakes, it's not mistakes. I think just people like to step out, whatever. Yeah. But the reality still is, you gotta know, it's true. What do you value? What is very important to you? So I guess that's how to conclude it. What's important to you? Think about that, guys. What's important? Work it out. Talk to your partner. When you're dating, ask the right questions.
Yeah.
The rest will follow. But thank you guys for locking in. I want to say a big, massive thank you to my guest, Charlotte. She's been rolling with me for the past few weeks, dropping you guys gems. Honestly, I have a very knowledgeable woman sitting beside me to be very grateful. Like, literally, she's it's true.
Stop it.
She's dropping serious gems for you guys, and I hope that somewhere, somehow, anybody out there, you guys are able to relate or learn something from this. So thank you. See you later.
Thank you.
Like,
Bye.
subscribe, and comment.